Hello,
Oh, hello.
I'm Sammi,
And I'm Steve.
and you're listening to Rose Plate Special, the most dramatic. Sammy's camera is freezingest. Kim writes a songingest. Prayer for Joaningest recap podcast of the Golden Bachelorette ever.
Ever. We're the
And
men of the mansion and we're little mansion men. Who wants to sing a song with me? I'm Kim. No, I'm not Captain Lee from Below Deck. What are you saying? Why doesn't anyone want to sing a song with me? I'm 90 years old. This is all I have. Sorry.
wow, that was emotional.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So anyway, this is going to be a messy episode. We're going to try to fit 2 episodes in one.
Yeah.
I was sick. If you can't tell, I mean, if you're just hearing this for the first time, this is the first episode. You're like, Sammy sounds totally normal. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I was sick. Just like a regular run of the mill. People get colds. Did you know that? Like
Yeah.
people still get colds.
I've gotten like 2 in the last month and a half, which I don't think is fair because it's still like 80 degrees out most of the
Yeah.
time, and that's just it doesn't make sense to me. But
I
it's
like,
okay if it's
yeah.
messy. This is our tribute to Brat Summer. We're fun, we're flirty, we're a little bit messy. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, hopefully I freeze on a frame where I look nice because otherwise I'll be
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, my camera is just like freezing at random times. Both of my computers are kind of funky and so am I. So I don't know.
It's
Is
great.
there, I would say, people say like, oh, a white girl with a nose ring should tell me what the planets are doing. But like I'm a white girl
Mhm.
with a nose ring and I don't know. So I need another white girl with a nose ring to tell me what's happening with the planets.
Yeah. I
'Cause
I
I
don't
have no
I don't
idea.
know either. And
Yeah.
sometimes I come up to this is like the scariest thing that can happen to any man in the world. It's when you meet a woman for the first time and then she immediately asks you what time you were born and you're like,
Oh,
"Uh-oh, I know where this conversation's
what
going."
time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know your big 3?
I don't. I mean, I've been told
Okay.
this multiple times, but like I don't retain that information.
Mhm.
I'm a Sagittarius. I share a birthday with Britney Spears, and I was born at like 9:06 a.m.
Okay.
You tell me. I don't know what I
Oh
am.
my gosh, our fans are gonna be typing this in.
Yeah, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, that makes so much sense for Steve."
He's such a Sagittarius with
Yeah,
a 9:06 AM birthday.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah,
What's my moon? What's rising, guys? Let me know.
yeah.
Put it in the comments.
I just know that I know that I'm a Taurus sun
Okay,
and, Leo rising and a Pisces moon, which makes
sounds good.
me annoying.
Yeah, you're a bull with a fish moon. Everybody knows that.
I'm yeah, I'm stubborn and people think I'm more outgoing than I am, but I just want to sit at home and be sad and write poems. So I
Yes.
really relate to Kim.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, all
Yeah.
this makes sense to me. So this
Yeah.
is yeah.
I was like, as soon as I found that out, I was like, oh yeah, like the outward me is outgoing, but the inside me is just like sad and cozy. Okay, yeah, that sounds
Mhm.
like me. Anyway, so my camera keeps freezing, but we're going to do this anyway. And yeah, we just and sorry that we didn't have an episode last week, but I was busy walking 50 miles and raising thousands of dollars for people living with MS. So, if you don't like that, you can just stop listening to our podcast. Thank you.
I walked 50 miles because I missed the bus and I had somewhere to be.
I
And here
actually,
I am
the
now.
funny thing is, okay, I hit the finish line. This is a true story. Okay. I hit the finish line and then I kept going and
Mhm.
walked down the street to my favorite place in Door County to get goat cheese curds. And I walked in the door with my medal on, like full gear medal on. And I walked up to the like counter and I said to the guy, I walked 50 miles for this cheese. Full dad joke.
Card me toots, I'm
Yeah.
ready.
And luckily he knew what I was talking about, so I like
Yeah,
didn't seem like I was
the
like,
weirdest person in the world. Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, you're doing that MS walk." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, I heard you guys were all over the place." I said, "Yeah, we were." And I said, "But this had to be my last stop." And he said, "You earned those cheese curds. You buy those cheese curds." And I was
I
like, "Well,
agree.
could have gotten them
You
for
did it.
free, but okay." No, just kidding. So yeah, so I was really busy, and then I actually kind of got the lucky sick stick out of some of my walk mates. So I'm thankful, and now we're here. And
You did
we
it.
might have to do another double episode in a couple weeks. But listen,
Yeah.
that just means you get to like get a condensed version of us. But it's interesting because like the Golden Bachelorette is 2 hours instead of the Golden Bachelor being 1 hour. So we
Mhm.
have like way more content, but they do stretch it out. It feels like old episodes of The Bachelor,
It does,
doesn't
it does.
it?
Well, I mean, for multiple reasons, because 1, they stretch it out, 2, it's a lot more wholesome, and 3, genuinely, none of the men understand the show or what's going on. Like, everything
No.
has to be explained. It's not like, every other season of The Bachelor, Bachelorette where someone is just like, "What? Why is it like this?" We're like, "Hey, dummy, why haven't you been don't
Yeah.
you watch the show?" No, genuinely, it's like these men got signed up by their kids, and they're like, I'm just here to meet a lady. I don't know how TV works."
Yeah, they're just like, I don't know. Well, and most of them got signed up by their daughters, which is why
Yeah.
they're good.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why we have good men on the show this
Very
season.
wholesome bunch for the most part.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm enjoying, which is funny too, because I was so leery of these men,
I
like,
know.
instantly, because I'm like, "Oh god, their politics, every man I've met over 60, but they seem nice."
They're really lovely. Yeah. So, before we get into we'll kinda go through episodes 2 and 3, um, somewhat in order, or we'll try. But one of my friends texted me a news story, and he goes, "Is this true?" And I was like, "Yes." And it was like, Charles doesn't know that he's become the Internet's boyfriend. And I was like, "Yeah, that's true." And he's
That's
like,
true.
"So everybody loves him?" I said, "Yeah, he's so lovely. Like, it's really hard not to love him."
Mhm.
And then I said, when he walked in, he noticed the like Le Creuset, like, pots and stuff and was like, "Are these real?" And and he goes, "Oh, that's so relatable." And I said, "For real." And then we started talking about those pots and I didn't know that they had a peach color. And so now
Oh,
I need to
wow.
buy one. Actually I want all of it because it's so cute. But yeah, I'm like, no, I very much relate and he's so sweet. But I just think it's funny that like, yeah, he has no idea how popular he is and that he's the internet's boyfriend. So
Mhm.
yeah, we stand Charles on this podcast. I'm speaking for you because I know that you also stand Charles.
Yeah, I like
How can you not like him?
I mean, I don't like his nickname, but that's about it. That's all. I
You don't like
can't.
his nickname?
Yeah, it doesn't work for me, but that's okay.
What's
That's
his nickname?
well, oh no, wait, no, Charles King is fine. I'm more concerned about Charles as in Chalk. I don't like Chalk.
Oh, no, no, Charles.
Yeah, no, Charles Good. He is the
Yes.
internet's boyfriend. Chalk,
Yes.
also a fine person, but like, and why not Chuck? Why is it
Jesus, did you hear that?
Chock?
That's
Yeah,
so
what was
loud.
that? Was that your stomach? What was that?
No, that was like a vehicle outside. I feel nothing ever gets picked up on this mic, and I could tell it got picked up,
Oh
and
my
I was like,
god.
"Damn."
What kind of
Yeah.
street racing do you have in
Yeah,
your little
some
suburban
rowdy
alcove?
teen,
Oh my
I live in a
gosh.
cul-de-sac. I mean, it's like, hello.
Wow.
Anyway, so sorry about that. Wow, this is all kinds of broken today. Um,
It's
no,
okay.
no, no. Yeah, Chalk, I don't know if that's a real name or not.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
that's what people call him.
CK, is because we can only have one Charles and he's in
Mhm.
charge and he's already told us and that's why we love Charles.
Yes,
Anyway,
exactly. He's a very
so
wholesome man, we love him.
yeah, he's so sweet. So, but I'm sad that Jack left after episode 2 because I was really looking for a cook-off. I was so sad. I mean, I knew he wasn't gonna stick around that long, but I thought maybe more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was
Um,
hoping. Just like a
yeah.
little bit longer, like, just keep him around, like, he's the personality hire of this
Yes.
he's in there, like,
I was so
he's
sad.
for
I was like,
me, he's my guy.
how can you fire him from the show so fast?"
Yeah.
But he was like, "Check out that pergola." Oh my god. And then,
It's
yeah,
real
and then
dad core too, like, they're
yeah,
just like, "Oh, yeah, I like the, construction. If you look at the joists here, you can tell it's real craftsmanship."
yeah. Well, and then they're like, and they did this on The Golden Bachelor too, where they were like talking about the bunk beds, and they were like, "Oh, you expect us to go up there? That's interesting." And Gary's like, "With my knees, I can't do the upper.
Mhm.
And guys like, I pee 3 to 5 times a night,
Oh,
so
nobody's sleeping in this house. They're all
yeah.
going crazy because
Which, yeah,
they're
they cover in episode 3, which we can
yeah,
maybe go back and forth a little bit. Yeah.
makes complete sense because when they were trying to sort this out in episode 2, and they're talking about like, "Okay, who goes in this bunk? Who goes in this bunk?" Whatever, and it's like, "I got bad knees. I gotta do this," and blah, 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 and just all this different stuff, and then they're talking about, like, how they have to get up and pee. It's like, yeah, if you're an old guy, like, literally all you do is pee, like, every 45
Yeah.
minutes. So, this is problematic. No one's sleeping. Everybody has sleep apnea and tiny little bladders the size of acorns, and no one's sleeping. I personally, given where they are geographically, I think it would make sense. If I'm in Malibu, I'm just saying, screw it. I'm going to go sleep outside on one of those beautiful like couches they have by the pool and just hang out. Like at
Yeah.
that point, what are you going to do? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in a sorority house, and I think that's, like, the closest thing you could have to, like, the bachelor mansion, because it was literally a mansion, and, I always slept in the basement. I had a room, but I just slept in the basement, on the, leather couches because it was really comfortable and nobody was down there, and they always said it was haunted, but, I never saw anything.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know if ghosts are real, just like look at this transition.
This is great.
Before the podcast, you told me that some Gen Zers don't think Helen Keller is real.
This is huge because I literally like I logged on. I'm like, Sammy, three things. One, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Two, here's my schedule for the next week.
Mhm.
Three, I was talking to the youth. And I'm deeply concerned.
Yeah.
Why is it that if you're like under the age of 25, you are just convinced that Helen Keller is not real?
It was so shocking, I had to cough. Yeah, it's really weird. So then I was like, "Where's my book? I gotta grab it off the shelf." Because okay, listen, Gen Zers, if you're listening to this or watching this, you can't see it if you're listening, I guess. But if you're watching, you can see. This book is called Lies My Teacher Told Me. Oh, now I froze again, so I'll hold it for an extra long time. Lies My Teacher Told Me. I think it's well, I don't know if it's the first chapter. It's either the
Yeah.
first chapter or the second chapter where he literally talks about Helen Keller. Yeah, I think it's chapter 1. And he talks about how Helen Keller was like a socialist. And so, and she was like super outspoken, like very political, very outspoken. Cause it's like you kind of like don't know a lot about her until she like, you know, like, it's like she learned how to communicate and then, ceased to exist, kind of a thing. But actually she became very politically outspoken, and then so people started to be like, "Oh, she's being coerced, or she's not that smart, or, like, her
Mhm.
abilities aren't that good," and whatever, and it's really messed up to learn about, like, the kind of, like, revisionist history they were doing, like, while she was still alive. So I would highly recommend reading this, but yeah, not only is she real, the real Helen Keller has been like so suppressed by historical documentation. So
Mhm.
read a book.
But it's weird because it's like even though like you learn about her as this like I don't know, just like a completely truncated version of like who she actually was, almost to the
Yeah,
point of caricature, especially because like you read an excerpt from like the book
The
about
Miracle
her, yeah,
Worker.
the miracle worker in
Ugh.
seventh grade,
Yeah.
and then after that they just show you the movie,
Hmm.
and like that's just burned into your brain because I did the whole bit. It was just like Helen, it's water, it has a name. She like won an Oscar for that
Yeah,
bullshit, and that's what you learn this, and then now kids are like, okay, we're still doing this in school, but they're like, no, doesn't make sense, and like literally their whole
that's
argument is just
wild.
like, so she couldn't see and she couldn't hear. And so how do you do anything? I'm like, I don't know, but she did it. Like
But
I don't know
like,
what to
and
tell you. This is a real person.
other people exist with, the same situation today.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
that's not a
No,
thing that doesn't happen, you
they're like,
know?
seems like too much going on at once. You could have one of those things or the other.
Yeah.
Ergo, I have
Yeah, they're
decided
like
it's not
they're like,
real.
"We're gonna just, yeah, we're gonna use our little conspiracy theory to be, like, the most ableist." But
It's so
anyway,
weird.
so yeah, that's so messed up. I can't like, that's not cute and funny. But anyway, you should read up on the real history and the real information on Helen Keller because it's fascinating.
Mhm.
And she really was, I mean, it's like as soon as she was able to like be outspoken and communicate and connect with the outside world and say, "Hey, oh, these are the things that are coming from my brain of my own volition," then people started to be like, "Oh, she's not capable of this." So obviously
Yeah.
someone is like feeding her this information or coercing her or whatever. Like it's so invalidating. And she was obviously like extremely capable of complex thought because that was not broken.
Yeah.
Like, you
And
know what I mean?
definitely
It's like,
real, a very
yeah, she
real
was a real
person.
person who lived
Yeah.
and was very smart and then yeah, became the victim of like smear campaigns and stuff. Really
Yeah.
interesting.
So, and
So
just remember this, kids, like, She went from 0 to Karl Marx in 60 seconds, so you can too. Like, get radicalized.
Oh my god, there was okay, anyway, I won't go down there. I was like, "Oh, this TikTok I saw." No, let's just keep going. We gotta
And
motor.
before Sammy drops dead from a fever.
Yeah. No, I don't have a fever anymore, probably.
Mhm. I
So
got a
okay,
fever, and it's a fever from anyone over the age of 60 named Charles. Whether you're Charles Ling, Charles King, or a chock full of Charles Chappie, Chapel, what is his name? Something. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I didn't
Yeah,
even know
whatever.
Chalk was short for Charles.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's Chapel, Chapel Chalk.
Okay, sure. So but Charles in charge says,
Mhm.
"I'm the most fit person, so I'll sleep on top of the bunk bed."
I love that for
And
him.
then Pascal's, like, super horrified at the closet. He's like, "This is not enough, and also I sleep naked."
He is so aggressively French. It's great.
Pascal is such a vibe, such a vibe. I found his daughter on TikTok. Oh, this was awkward. This was weird and fun. So she goes, "My dad," this was like at the beginning of September. She's like, "My dad is going to be on the Golden Bachelorette and I can't wait to see him and now I can like, tell you about it cuz like the first trailer came out or whatever." And so
Mhm.
she played it in the background and she's like, "That's my dad." And I was like, "Well, that's like an exciting good dad to have on the Golden Bachelor. Like I would
Yeah.
be proud too." But then someone in the comments was like, "Oh my god, Gil's my dad. I can't wait to watch him." And I was like,
Oh.
oh, that's so awkward. And then all the comments were like obliterating this kid. Like, how does it feel to have a terrible dad?
Oh my
How does it feel to have a
god.
dad who sucks?
Also, it's like,
Um,
how do you even respond to that? It's like, not good?
yeah,
I
it's
don't
like, how does it
know,
feel to have
like
a criminal dad? But anyway, so first date. Wait, what? Oh, first date. Okay, card. Gary, Bob, Jonathan, Charles L, Mark, Jordan, Guy, and Keith all go to the other room and they find out that there's a question from Joan and it's, "Will you go to prom with me?" And they are all suited up. And of course, God, all the greatest hits. Taylor Dane comes out.
oh my god.
Taylor Dane. And I honestly okay, is there one thing you associate with Taylor Dane? Because I need to know if we're on the same wavelength.
Her performance at Mar-a-Lago 2 years ago?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. No,
No,
I think
it's just like it's like mall music from the
yeah,
'80s, like, it's just Side Ponytail, the soundtrack.
Side Ponytail, the soundtrack. I think of one thing and one thing only, and that's Tig Notaro's routine about Taylor Dane.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the whole, like, party thing? Yes, yes, that's a
Yeah,
really
and
good
it's just
story.
like she, like, ran into her in a bunch of places, and so I was like, that's all I ever think about is that Taylor Dane routine. Anyway, um but it was cute. They did have fun at prom, and it made me wanna cry, especially because Jonathan had never been to prom before. Adorable, so cute.
Mhm.
And it was like it was sad, like, oh, I don't know. I feel like Jonathan's really, like, healing his inner child, during this whole, season, and it's very sweet.
There's a lot
Um
of, like, male healing and crying, and
Yes!
all these guys, like, I
Non-toxic.
guarantee
It's so sweet.
they're good dudes, but also if you're a dude in your 60s right now, like, 1, I don't think you have a lot of, like, positive male friendships, and
Mhm.
also, I don't think you get to cry a lot, so all these guys are doing are broing down and crying and hugging.
It's so
It's
cute.
like
It's, like, the
it's
best thing
group
ever.
therapy. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. It's
I'm
great.
obsessed. Yeah, Mark spikes the punch. The
Classic.
photos on the wall were really cute, like, that was really nice. Yeah, so
Jordan has gone on a date with Taylor Dane before, is that correct? What
yeah,
just casually dropping that? "Yeah, I went
yeah,
on a date with Taylor." What?
5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, what
Jordan is,
happened?
like, still awkward, but, like, it's working for him, but he's
Yeah.
still an awkward person.
No, that's the thing. It's just like I see him and I'm like, "I like you, I think you're great," but also, like, your energy and the way you carry yourself, I understand why there wasn't a date number 2 with Taylor Dane. I'm sorry. Like, it's just like,
Yeah,
"You're good, dude. I understand this is weird," and I'm not saying like, if I was on the show, I would also be weird.
yeah,
I could be on the show now and I'd still be like, "My knees hurt. Can I have the bottom bunk?"
yeah,
Uh, so I get it, bro, but, like, you gotta just deep breath, Jordan. You're doing great. Come on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Jonathan, yeah, his date decided not to go. He went to a small Catholic school. So this was like his chance to like go to prom. There were also a lot of emotional moments with like like I said, like the widower club.
Mhm.
Um, this was really sweet. Charles goes, "Today is the first happiest day with me since my wife passed away."
Oh my
He makes
god.
me cry every 15 minutes.
That's it, is like everybody is just constantly crying every single time Charles is on screen because he just does something absolutely precious, like, you just wanna, like, squeeze him.
Yeah, it's so cute. And then oh, and then so Chalk gets the one-on-one while they're at the group date, and they're like, "Meet me at the happiest place on earth," and I'm like, "So Disneyland, I guess, because 'cause they're in
Yeah.
California, not Disney World." Um, and then, of course, Jonathan gets the group date rose and gets named prom king because I mean, come on.
Yeah, how do you
And
not?
then and then I found out Taylor Dane had a second song because I literally only know "Tell It to My Heart." I don't know the other one, so I was like, "This is okay, she has
That
a
was a
second
really good
song."
impression. I kinda thought that, like, Taylor Dane was in the room with you for a
Thank
second.
you. Yeah, well, I'm the camera pro, so you'll never know.
Take my hand.
Yeah, my
Eric
voice is a
Cartman
l
is Taylor Dane.
What's that wait, oh, shit, what's that one song that I sing all the time, that I'm, like, totally blanking on? It was one of his, Faith Plus One songs.
Oh, yeah.
Um, why am I forgetting it right now? Anyway, I'll sing it later if it pops back into me. Oh, yeah, I may be born again, but I wasn't born again yesterday.
That's good. That's good.
That's one of my favorite I think about that, um, all the time,
Yeah,
like,
and it's a good
at least a
lesson
couple
too,
times a week.
because that's one of those things that has stuck with me for literally decades, where it's like every time you hear a contemporary Christian song, you're like, "Oh, it's just a regular love song, but you're talking about Jesus instead of, like, passionately kissing a lady or
"You
something."
tremble in Jesus, baby, baby." That's one of my favorite episodes. It was
That's
so
good.
spot on for someone who grew up with, like, DC Talk and stuff
Oh, yeah.
and, like, Audio Adrenaline or whatever. I'm like, "Oh my
Ooh.
god, so true, so true." Um, all that hot, uh, you know, young, hip Christian music, we listen to. Anyway, okay, Disneyland, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, okay, this was funny. So they go to Disneyland, and then at some point, I don't remember exactly what happened, but Chalk said something about Tahoe, and then he goes, like Lake Tahoe. Like it was confusing, and I thought that was really
Not
funny.
the, large gas guzzling SUV, I mean the body of water.
I was just kind of like, is that your way of saying I have enough money to go to Lake Tahoe? I don't know. It just
This is
seemed kind
another
of
thing
weird.
with these guys too, is like, and a lot of them have been very candid about this, where they're like, "I haven't been on a date in years," or "I haven't been on a date since my wife died," or whatever, and Chalk is just embodying this nervous energy
Yeah.
because every single interaction he has, it's like, you have not spent solo time with a woman in a public place in a very long time, is what I'm getting from this. And it's okay, it's wholesome, but
Yeah.
again, it's like, everybody take a breath, please.
I
Like,
know you really, like, didn't wanna like Chalk at the beginning, but I really don't see I mean, outside of his, like, name being I mean, listen, I'm married to someone whose, like, nickname is the name everyone knows him as, and it's, like, short for butt, so I really can't say anything about it.
yeah. Your
Um,
your your husband, Mr. Ass.
yeah, yeah. Well, wait, I never told the story?
No.
Well, because he was born and his dad said something like, "Look at that Tookus," and then that's why they call him
That's
Tuck.
why they call him I thought his name was just
Yes.
like Tucker, and then you called him Tuck.
No, his name's Christopher.
What?
Yeah, that's why I call him Chris.
Oh my god.
At home,
Okay.
I'll be like, "Chris." Or his name is, well, because he used to work at a place called well, I know I shouldn't say it. I won't say it. I'm not gonna dox him.
So
But yeah.
wait, when you get mad at him, do you call him by his full name, or you're like, "Tuckus?"
I usually say Tuck when I'm mad,
Oh,
but I will
okay.
refer to him as Tuck to other people because everybody else knows him as Tuck. But if
Mhm.
I say it at home, he's like, "Oh, you're mad at me because you didn't say Chris." 'Cause
Wow,
I'll go,
okay.
"Chris," or I'll go, "Christian," which is not his name
Not his
either.
name at all, yeah.
Christopher. Yeah, I don't really say Christopher, I'll say Chris or Christian. But yeah, no, his name is a nickname for
Well,
butt. So what
Tuckus.
I am
Okay.
saying is I really can't get down on, chalk for that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this date went really well.
Mhm.
Um, and oh my god, it was cute. Of course, they got a churro and they got that blue drink, and then they talked to R2-D2, which is my dream. I do wanna go do that, and I just wanna hang out with the droids for pretty much an entire day, and I could
Yeah.
hang out with R2-D2 for about 3 hours and
Well,
be,
they
like,
got to see
totally
all the
happy.
Star Wars stuff
Yeah.
without, like, getting tickets 3 days in advance while waiting in the digital line, and
Mhm.
then just being, like, wall-to-wall people crammed in there waiting hours to touch a lightsaber and drink some blue milk or whatever.
Yeah, that's my dream. Yeah, that sounds so good. Also, Le Creuset did have, Star Wars, stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, and my friend didn't know that, and I was like, "Yeah, they had a tattooing, um, like, Dutch oven or whatever, and it was really fancy, and they only, like, auctioned or, like, they did, like, a raffle for 2 of them, and I don't who knows? Lucky bastards have those. Anyway, but Joan is like, "Oh," she was saying something like, "Oh," she goes, "I just don't feel safe anymore when I put my head on the pillow," and, like, she gets really vulnerable with him. It's, like,
Yeah.
really sad. But he's very sweet. He gets the rose. And then, at night, she's in, like, a Cinderella dress, and
Mhm.
I was like, "That's a Cinderella dress," and then they start playing A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes, and then there's fireworks, and I was like, "Yeah." So
Classic.
that was really cute, and then we go back to the men, and I'm just trying to speed through this, and they're fixing the garbage disposal, and, which is
The
really
dads, they're, like,
the
literally
dad
going
shit
around the house,
is
like, just finding
extra.
things to fix, yeah,
Yeah, they're like,
right.
"Well, someone's gotta fix this garbage disposal. We can't live like this. We gotta do something about it."
Just, like,
And
checking the seals on the windows and shit, like, just
yeah.
real dad
They're like,
core.
"This isn't up to code." And then there's a talent show, and, like, all the type A men are, like, really excited. And then we've got Lonnie Love judging, and, okay, this is really sweet. So, Greg is, like, super worried about it, and he's like okay, he's so corny. He starts off and he's like, does this USA chant, and then he's like, "You know what that stands for? Untreated sleep apnea." And I was like, "That's pretty funny." I'll take it. That's a good joke. Um, oh, and then CK breaks a board, and that's, like, the
Very
perfect time
cool.
for me to bring up no. Well, it just gives me flashbacks because I worked at a taekwondo studio for 2 weeks. And did I tell you about this?
I know you worked at a taekwondo studio.
Yeah.
Do you have, like,
Oh my god.
block breaking PTSD? What happened?
Yes, yes.
Did they make you
So
punch a board on your first day?
no, but okay, so this is what happens. Here's the racket. Stay away from those taekwondo studios unless they're, like, the real deal, okay? Most of them are, like, multi-level marketing schemes. So basically, this person, that I interviewed with, she was like, first of all, like, "Oh, you can wear leggings all every day. Isn't that fun?" And then I would come in like, bright leggings, and she go, "Well, not those leggings." And I'm like she's like, "You gotta wear, like, black or gray." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
But all I have are these colorful ones. And she's like, gotta get new leggings. And then she's like, oh, you gotta take all those piercings out. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be like,
At the taekwondo studio?
I'm not
What
gonna
is
be
this?
like fighting
What are you working
people.
at a funeral parlor? Come on.
Yeah. And then she was like, and then it was like all that, like, all the calling everyone sir and ma'am and shit like that. That really is hard for me. And like Mrs. and Mr. and all that, like whatever. Which is like fine. It's just not my I've realized I don't like authority that much.
Mhm.
So
That's
that
fair.
was very hard for me. But here's the racket. Okay, so this is what happens is they drop off these like boxes at businesses. And you didn't hear this from me. This is all alleged. No.
Oh.
They
This is
drop
what
off
big taekwondo doesn't want you to know.
it's true. I'm for real right now. Okay, so they drop off these boxes at like businesses and it'll be like enter to win a free birthday party or whatever, or like a free lesson or something like that. Here's the trick. Everyone wins. It is not an enter to win a free thing.
What?
Everyone wins. Okay. And so what you win is you come in and they do a little lesson, like a 20-minute lesson.
Mhm.
And then they'll be like, so it's either like a party or it's usually like a party or like a free lesson or whatever. And party, you could like bring a handful of people. But then what they do is they go in for the kill and they do like the hard sell of like, oh, it builds confidence and conditioning and respect and they'll do better in school and like it's such a good activity and like and don't you want your child to have a strong foundation and be set up for success? Well, you should probably enroll them. And so then they'll like get you to like enroll in classes. So like everybody wins so that they come
Oh,
through the door and then it's harder for them to say no when you try to sell them a class.
makes sense.
Um and then when they're in, it's like, then they make friends there. It's hard to, it's like a lot of money for all the like equipment and the belts and all that
It's
stuff.
like the Cutco of the martial arts world. Is that what
Yes. Yeah, and then, like, we would and so, like, I was hired as, like, a marketing person, and I was like, "Great, cool." So, like, I'll post on social media about the classes and the events and whatever, and then they're like, "We want you to be making, like, 1,000,000 cold calls a day." So, basically, we would go to, like, grocery stores and stuff, and we would have kids break a board there. Like, we'd be like, "Do you wanna break a board? I'm gonna teach you how to break a board." And so they'd come in and we'd hold a board for them and, like, they would break the board. Like, it is not hard to break a board. What I'm telling
Oh,
you is it's not hard to break a board. That's
it's good
what
to know.
I'm not saying CK's board might have been harder, but these boards were extremely easy to break.
CK's was solid mahogany.
Yeah, because
Okay.
obviously he's a fit guy. That's why he showed us that he doesn't need any assistive aids. Okay. But anyway, so but these are like extremely they're like balsa wood, like
Mhm.
super easy boards to break. And basically it just has to do with like where the position is and the amount of force. So like any kid can really do it. So
Yeah.
you build up their confidence, you get them excited. They're at the grocery store with their parents. They don't want to be there. This is a fun, exciting thing for them to do when they leave the grocery store. Before they break the board, you have them put like their name and number and email on this
Mhm.
thing, whatever. And then my job was I had to call all of these poor parents and
Like,
like ask
"Hey,
them to come in. Hey, you want a free lesson? Do you want to, whatever.
do you
And
wanna
same
break
thing.
more boards?"
Yeah, is the
Yeah.
same thing. Oh my God. And then they'd be like, "You get through this, you don't hear from them, call through it again." And I would have to sit in this, like, supply closet and make these phone calls, and I was like and they were
God.
like they're like, "This job is gonna be, like, very little if n no sales." Yeah, that was bullshit. And then I got strep throat, and I was, like, relieved because I didn't have to go to work,
Mhm.
and that's when I realized I had to quit. Anyway, so that's what I think of when I see CK, breaking a board.
Love that.
And then he punches Greg in the stomach, which was funny. He was too forceful. That's the thing. He was more forceful than it was required to break the board. So much so that he punched Greg in the stomach. And then we've got Christopher doing yo-yos, and there was some juggling, and then Jack could have sang, but then he decided to do a puppet show.
Which is wh yeah, I thought he was gonna sing. I mean, that's his
And then
thing.
he's
He
like
sings and he
he's
cooks. He's
like,
like,
"No, I got other
"Also,
things. I got other things."
I got one more thing." I know, it's like that there's that clip of me from the last episode where I'm like, "I got 2 things." He's like, "I got a secret 3rd thing, and I just discovered it. I took off my socks one day, and I was like, 'Oh, man, I'm like that lamb chop lady.'"
I love Sherry Lewis. I was obsessed with Lamb Chop, and I love Sherry Lewis. And when I got older, I started to watch, like, young Sherry Lewis stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this was kind of
Oh my
edgy."
god. If you were a
Anyway, fun
rapper,
stuff.
would your name be Young Sherry Lewis?
Why?
It just sounds like a good rapper name. I don't know.
Oh, okay, sure.
I don't
Yeah,
think anyone's taken that one yet. You better write that down.
yeah, I think mine hair needs to be a little bit curlier. Um, that's okay, I'll get a perm. So then
You got
okay.
lamb chop vibes. You could pull it off.
Oh my god, that's, like, the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Lamb Chop is such a bitch, and I love her. Lamb chop is, like, all attitude, and I loved that growing up. I was like, "Wow, I wish I could get away with that all day long."
Yeah.
Anyway, that's so kind of you to say that I have lamb chop vibes. You have no idea how nice that was, like, almost as nice as Tuck telling me, I think you could do voiceover for cartoons," before he, like, really knew anything about me. I was
Oh,
like,
that is
"Wow.
nice.
Wow,
Wow,
that's
wow.
I'm marrying this man," and then I did. That's what happened. Okay, and then, yeah, Pascal cuts hair in record time, and then he, like, spins, stuff on his hand and whatever, and then, and
Pascal's
then
entire talent is, "This is my job. Look at me
yeah,
do it."
yeah, he's just like, "Look at how good I am at my job, and that's why I can afford all my
Yeah.
designer things."
Now, some of Pascal's talents don't include, doing laundry, basic cooking,
No, yeah,
uh
we learned that in episode 3 that,
yeah,
but, honestly, again, a vibe. If you
love it.
have built up that level of success and you wanna pay other people to do stuff that you don't like doing, okay, fine,
I
whatever.
think it's amazing. Yeah, I respect a man who is just like, "I don't know how to do things, but I have a lot of money. How do I
Yeah,
do it? I
he's
don't
like,
know."
That's what I do." But here's the thing, I actually do think he's, like, a good dude, so, like, whatever, good
Yeah,
for him. And he's got, like, a nice origin story, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
yeah.
Um Yeah. Oh, and then yeah, so Kim, Captain Lee sings, and then that's like good foreshadowing for episode
Mhm.
3. And Dan wins because he makes light of his tremor, and he was just kind of like, well, yeah, if I've got this already, like I might as well like do like a ribbon
He does the
dancing
ribbon.
show about it. It was honestly like so sweet.
It was really good. I thought he was gonna do more too. I was like, "Oh, the ribbon dance, that's so good." Then
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we gotta get him some maracas." Like, there's all kinds of things,
Yeah.
but just the ribbon dance alone was
It
beautiful.
was
It was
good. Yeah, it
smart.
was good, and he was just and he was vulnerable with Joan and was like, um, I've gotten more sensitive, but I also find things funnier and I appreciate things more deeply. And then, Joan's like, oh, I just feel really comfortable in Dan's arms. And I was like, good job, Dan.
Mm.
Um, then we get the next dad moment where the men have a barbecue on the pool deck. And they're like, they all have the right idea of how to do everything.
Oh my
This
god.
is how you shuck corn, and this is how you make a burger, and this is how oh my
This
and
is like
I'm the grill master.
this is the most dad shit of
Yeah,
all time. And it doesn't even matter. Like, even if you don't have kids, I think you hit 60 years old and this is just what you do. Like, uh, Susan's uncle, they had like this big barbecue or something with like the family was all over. There's probably like 50 people there. And, you know, he's getting a little bit older and it was his house and I was trying to help out. So her aunt was like, "Steve, can you grill the burgers and the
yeah,
brats?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, no problem." So I'm doing it and I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, Tom. I got this, whatever." And he's just I'm literally like there, like flipping burgers, just doing my thing. And he's standing 3 feet away from me with a beer in his hand, just be like, are you gonna do this? You
oh my
you gonna
god,
you gonna do that? I'm like, I'm gonna actually kill you. That's what I'm gonna do if you get away from me right now. Like, it's
yeah,
like, yes, I would love to help. And it's like, great. So while you do this tiny wrist motion, I'm gonna tell you everything I would be doing if I was doing the
mhm.
tiny wrist motion. It's lovely.
It's like, so maybe you should be doing it then. But yeah, like,
Yes.
yeah, Jack's like, the thing is when you're grilling a burger, you don't ever pat it down, and Christopher's like, "Listen, I like barbecue sauce on my burgers, okay? This is what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
you do what you're doing." Um, yeah. And then oh, I was like, "What's my note?" I wrote that Jack has an illegitimate child somewhere because because he was like, "I got 3 kids." I mean, oh my god, I got 2 kids. I got 3 grandkids. And I was like, "Is that a slip, Jack,
You never
from
know.
your sordid catering days? Like, what's
You never
going
know,
on?"
man. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, and my favorite thing is, we know that Jack is just here for the zip line. And when we say
Oh,
the zip line, it's the cannonballs. He's just here for the cannonball.
just let him live. He truly
He just,
is.
I
Like,
really wish he could have stayed there longer. Everybody is talking about we need Golden Paradise. If we don't have Golden Paradise, oh my
oh yeah.
God.
Yeah, like Jack was
Yeah.
made for Golden Paradise, if
Oh
that
my God.
exists
He
ever.
needs to, he needs to be on goal. He's already comparing the mansion with places he's been in Mexico. I mean, what
Oh
more
my
do you
god.
need? This man needs
I
to go to
guarantee
paradise.
right now, like if I could have one conversation with Jack right now, it'd be like, "What's your favorite all-inclusive in Mexico?"
Oh,
And I guarantee
he's got a list. He's got a tier
he's got a
list.
top 5. He's got a top
Yeah.
5 for sure.
He's like, "Well, when you got time." And, I do like a cruise. I like a but it's gotta be
Yeah.
done well. And I gotta
Let
say,
me tell you, if you go down to Cabo and you stay at the Sandals, they got the best frozen daiquiris.
yeah.
It's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh. I've only been to one all-inclusive in my life, and I think that was enough. Um, and then I was around another one, and my friend thinks someone thought that I had escaped.
I can't handle the pressure of an all-inclusive. If I went to an
Yeah.
all-inclusive, I'd be like, I need to make sure that I'm getting my money's worth and then some because every single drink and food item that I consume is like it's shaving money off the price. So in order to
Yeah.
maximize value, I'd be like, okay, I need to be blind drunk and like vomiting from eating too many like nachos at some point. Like that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy for me. I couldn't
That's
do it.
girl math. Yeah. Anyway, so and then yeah, Pascal's like, "Look at all the designer goods in my closet." He like showed Joan around and he's like, "Those are all my designer items." So, and then okay, and then this is weird. We still get a Gil clip and then I was like, "Well, hopefully we don't see him after episode 2." And that didn't happen. We see him in episode 3 as well. Um but he talks about his wife dying in 2019. Then we get another cannonball from Jack. I just love Jack so much. I really miss him already.
But only
Um,
like 2 or 3 on camera. You know that there was like tack
so
on
many.
at least 2 more zeros onto the number of
Oh my
cannonballs. It
god.
probably did.
I'm so endeared to Jack. And then Gary got like a sweet picture from Joan. Was it like a picture of his younger self from prom or something?
Yep, yep.
Okay. I missed the exactly what it was. And then Mark comes out with the German Riz and he starts see I know young people terms.
Oh my god. I'm
And
hip, I'm with it.
yeah, I'm him. I
Hey
used to be
kids, you know who had the Riz? Helen Keller, a real person.
she was
Yeah, no cap,
um
she was great.
the miracle Rizzler.
The miracle Rizzler.
I'm gonna go walk off a cliff. Anyway,
Helen Keller
so
was the OG Rizzler. Mark it.
that would start a new thing. That would be good. Um, and then okay. Sorry, I couldn't even mute. I was just losing it. Okay. So who went home? So Jack went home, Christopher, Michael, Bob, oh, and we should talk about the wayward lesbians before we close this episode.
Yes.
But yeah, the Jack Christopher girl friendship was really cute. And then Jack goes, "It's been a slice, like a slice of pie, like it was good."
Yeah, it was
Which
good.
is
What a poet.
amazing.
Just a
And then
Shakespeare
yeah,
of
so
South
cute.
Chicago.
Christopher, yeah, it was so sweet. Like, yeah, he's like, "I got my techniques and you got yours, and that's fine, and we make it work." And so, yeah, I wanna see Jack and Christopher, and I wanna see Charles, and who else? I don't know, with food stuff, but at least
Mhm.
those 3 doing, like, food things together, be so cute. Um, and then, yeah, Charles K got, demoted well, I said he got demoted to a nickname, CK, because Charles is in charge.
Too many
And
Charleses.
yeah, and then Jack at the end sings again, which I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you could have done that at the talent show." And then we get a preview that Pascal goes on a shopping date in episode 3. But yeah, so, like, okay, I have, like, a personal thing against Bob just because 'cause I'm leery of chiropractors, but that's nothing against Bob, maybe he's great. And I will say I almost sent you the video that you sent me about the wayward lesbians.
I know as soon as I saw
It
that, I
was
was like,
like I
"Whoa."
saw it and then I was gonna send it to you and then I didn't. I might have sent it to our account, so we might have reposted it on our account, and then you sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's so funny," because that was, like, when I was gonna send to you. I do think that's very cute, and that's something that is melting my cold heart against Bob. That's
Mhm.
really sweet. Like,
That's very nice.
that it's just, like, it's this genuine thing that's, like, grown over time, and they, like, do so much stuff together, and
And
it's
there's
just like
so many.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh, like that Thanksgiving picture, it's like
Yeah. It's
every
like I thought maybe it would be
single
like 4 or 5, but it was yeah, like a team's worth.
yeah,
Yeah,
every single, like, gay and non-binary woman in Marina Del Rey was just, like, crammed into his living room. It was
yeah.
incredible.
He's like, "This is the home of wayward lesbians,"
Yeah,
and he
Bob is the
wasn't
shit.
kidding. So,
New
alright,
reality
Bob.
show, Bob's Home for Wayward Lesbians.
Honestly,
Book
it's,
it.
like, pretty good. Yeah, so, go check out our TikTok. It's probably reposted over there if you didn't see it. Um, okay, episode 3, we start with Joan crying, and then we instantly go back in time to the start of a new day with the sleepy men in the house, because they're not getting sleep.
Mhm.
And here's the thing, we start the day, first of all, talking about gazers and grazers. Some guys cook, some guys clean, some guys eat. And Pascal is like, "I don't cook, I don't clean." I can't do a
I
French accent.
simply exist and I am fabulous. I am so aggressively French. All I can do is lay down and sigh.
Yes. Sorry, I had to cough. Yeah, but he gets all his cooking and cleaning done for him. It's amazing. He's so good at working a room. And then what happened here? There was a there was a reaction that is so dad. What was that about? I
I
said, "These reactions are so dad," and all the dads are going, "Ooh." Oh, when Jesse came in and he was, like, announcing stuff and everybody went, "Ooh." And then Pascal gets the first one-on-one date,
Mhm.
and she's like, Joan's like, "I wanna see his heart," and then she's like, "But he's still gonna get the shopping date." And I was like, "Yeah."
This
Basically, he gets it's
I
not
love
exactly the
this shit.
shopping date, but it's basically the shopping date. Yeah.
This is so great because like immediately they walk out. There's this like beautiful sports car because you know it's
Yeah.
the Bachelor, and he's like, "Oh, do you like to drive? Because I like to drive." And she's like, "I'm driving," and he's like, "Okay,
Well, yeah,
let's
so
die."
there was a conversation online about that, and it sounds like what happens is because they only have, like they can't fill out, like, a car, like, insurance policy for
Yeah,
everybody on the show,
everybody.
so it's just, like that's why the Bachelorette and the Golden Bachelorette are, like, the ones who drive and, all
Hmm.
that stuff.
Oh,
Also,
makes sense.
it's like they're driving, they're in charge, whatever.
Yeah,
So, that's
more
part of it as
wholesome
well.
stuff here too, and
Yeah,
this is great. Like this is the difference between a, a show like The Golden Bachelorette, where you have all these guys that just don't know how anything works.
yeah.
If this was the regular Bachelorette, they would go out, they would do their thing, they would leave. Here, it's like all the guys follow them out, and they're like, "Bye, have fun."
It's
It's
so
so
cute.
dad. Bring her
Yeah.
home on time. Don't be late.
It's totally adorable. Yeah, they go to Vegas. It's so cute. They're, like, going shopping, getting outfits, and my favorite part is Pascal goes, "It's like Pretty Woman, and I'm Julia Roberts."
Yeah, you are, Pascal.
It's so cute. He wants to go into a store and be like, "Big mistake, huge." Like, 100%. So cute. And, like, so adorable. Anyway, meanwhile, while they're there, Charles and Gary are on a side quest, and they're buying
Mhm.
melatonin, earplugs, and all kinds of sleepy stuff for the men in
At
the
the
house.
most bespoke liquor store I have ever seen in my
Yeah.
entire what they got like linen lined picnic baskets. Like what
Were they at Erewhon or something?
I have no idea. I mean, the
Yeah.
mansion is in Malibu, so I get
I
no
don't know.
clue, but it's
One of
it's
these
like
days, I'm gonna
real
go to
bougie
Erewhon and spend $500 on groceries and feel fine about it.
and feel like you've only put 3 things in your cart. Is that
Yeah, but I'll be like, "Well, I'll
I've
never do
got
that again."
1 smoothie, a jug of water, and some water
3 walnuts.
crackers,
Yeah.
3 walnuts,
But
$500, ma'am.
yeah, and I'll be like, "What a rush. This is the
It's great.
fucking coolest thing I've ever done in my life." Um, and then, of course okay, alright, before we talk about Wayne Newton, have you seen the videos of Frankie Valli going
Oh, yeah.
around?
Frankie Valli, just
Can you do the Frankie Valli impersonation? Yeah.
and then in the background, it's just like, "Grease is the word." He's just
Yeah, you see his bottom lip moving just a little bit, it's like, he looks like an animatronic. I feel really bad, but, like,
but then, like, they zoom
he
in on
needs
him,
to
so
take a
it's like it's
break.
just
Yeah.
it's elder abuse. I mean, like, who does
It's
he owe
really
money to
Yeah, I'm
from
like, at
1960?
least Wayne Newton is still lucid, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
he's still
no,
with it.
this
Yeah.
is great
I
because
was
I
like,
mean,
"Oh god."
he's legitimately 90 years old. There's
Yeah.
no way it's healthy for him. And then they like post like there was a post on the Frankie Valli Instagram, which I'm sure 90-year-old Frankie Valli, of course, updates himself. It was just
Yeah,
like, "Hey guys,
obviously.
I'm okay."
He's on the gram.
Yeah.
He's like 90 and never felt better. Like,
Yeah, Frankie Valli's just over here having a great time. We're posting on his behalf. But this whole thing is just like, dude, like, was the year like 1955 and like a bunch of dudes in leather jackets with like greaseback hair were like, "Hey, Frankie, you owe us big cash. And if you don't, we're going to make you work in Vegas until your bones turn to dust." That's what it's like. It's like,
yeah,
it is the most hostage situation shit I have ever seen.
it's really sad. It's really sad. I mean, if he's enjoying it, okay, but I don't know if he is. I don't know if
No,
he knows he's there.
I want to
I
be
hate to
like
say that,
blink
but
twice if you need help, but he doesn't blink. I don't
yeah. It's
it's very
strange.
sad.
It's really sad. I mean, that's like, like, listen, we're talking about the Golden Bachelorette. Everybody's got their faculties, but it's like, yeah, at some point you got to have a limit, and you just got to say, this is not working anymore. And
Yeah.
we got to just like pack it in. Oh, that's a fun freeze frame of me going. Anyway, um, but yeah, at least in my notes I said, well, thank goodness it was Wayne Newton and not animatronic Frankie Valli.
Mhm.
Wayne Newton is one of my go-to karaoke choices all the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do
because
you have a particular song by Wayne Newton?
I like Remember When and of course, Dankeschön, and
Dankeschön,
there's a
yeah.
third one that I've sang before, and I'm trying to remember what one it is. I mean, it's not like he's got a ton of, like, really well-known songs, but,
Wow.
um,
We gotta
uh
polish your act. We're gonna take you down to Branson, Missouri, and make you a
yeah,
star.
I'm a little too raspy for that. Like, right now, I could do, Patsy Cline, no problem, but Wayne Newton couldn't do
Tom
right now.
Waits, you could probably
Yeah, yeah, I've never really done done that, so
you're
but
not at
yeah.
a Tom Waits level, don't worry.
No, not
If
well, most of the
if you came
time,
on
I'm
the
not.
podcast, you're like, "Hello, Steve, let's talk about the Golden Bachelorette." I'd be like, "Okay, maybe we shouldn't
But
pack it
yeah,
in, Tom."
he's got a good voice for, like a soprano or a mezzo soprano, which makes him
Yeah,
fun to sing for ladies. Anyway,
that's nice. That's good to
that's just
know.
a thing. Anyway, yeah, so, okay, then Charles made me cry again.
Stop it,
So
Charles.
we go back to the house, and Charles is asking Guy about his wife when she fell and, like, the blood in her mouth,
Oh my god.
and oh my god, and I know you didn't wanna like Guy either,
I
but I have
know!
to say
They're
yeah,
the people editing this show are listening to the podcast, and they're just glomming on to every criticism that I have, and they're like, "No, we can't wait to make Steve look like a fool." And
yeah,
you have officially made me look like a
you've
fool because
succeeded.
between this episode, like these 2 episodes that we're covering, Guy just transforms into the most wonderful, wholesome man. Like between the Charles stuff and then the stuff with Kim where he's the only one singing with him, I'm just like, "You angel man. I love you. I'm sorry I
Yeah.
called you sleazy."
Yeah, he's so sweet, like, you're so mean for calling him sleazy. No, he did kind of seem sleazy, but he's not.
Oh, look at him.
He's, like, such a
He's
sweet
too
guy.
handsome. And
He's so sweet.
he gets naked on the show too.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow or next week, I mean.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna happen tomorrow.
On a very special
Yeah,
Saturday night,
he's probably naked right now.
strip
We don't know.
special. Yeah.
Saturday night, it's Magic Mike with Guy.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. That's how he talks now, apparently.
That's what we do.
Anyway, yeah, he's so sweet, and he's sitting with Charles, and he's, like, so patient, like, good bedside manner, by the way.
Mhm.
If you hear Walter, he's really upset with me being in here, so bad, temperament. Anyway, so he's talking to Charles, and he's like, "Well, yeah, she probably, like, bit her tongue when she fell." And he's like, "Oh," and he, like, never had an answer about that, and it's been, like, plaguing him
Yeah,
for, like, 6 years.
for years,
I was
and
like,
no one
"Oh my
told him that.
god."
It's like,
Like, that's so
"Bro,
sad.
oh
Yeah.
my god, Charles, you angel."
And he's like, "I'm so glad I finally have an answer for that, and I just felt like it was always my fault and whatever." Now, I understand. I will say, I don't know if I would make the same advice that Guy made because it was kinda like, "You gotta move on," which, like, it's been 6 years, like, I get it, but also, like, I
Mhm.
don't think you can tell anybody that
Yeah,
exactly. But
that's a hard one.
yeah, I was kinda like 50-50 on that advice, but I do think, like, he's gotta stop blaming himself because,
Yeah.
there's nothing that he could have done, and there's nothing that he can change, and those kinds of things are like, freak accidents, and they're
Mhm.
mostly unknowable.
Well, and that's the sentiment behind what Guy was saying when he was like, "Oh, you gotta let go of this stuff." It means like at least I took it as don't you can't just beat yourself up over this and torture yourself. Like all this stuff is out of your hands and unknowable, and you did everything you could and you were great, and just like you can't constantly be like, what if and criticize yourself because you'll go crazy because there's no answers. You just drive yourself nuts. You can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was so sweet. Anyway, it was, like, really, really nice. Um, Walter's driving me nuts right now. Anyway, full
It's okay. We
disclosure.
love you,
So
Walter.
if he barks in the background, I'm so sorry. He will, go downstairs in a minute, I'm
Walter,
sure.
bark twice if you love Guy now.
He's like, "I do." So anyway, so then we're still out on the date. Yeah, Joan is our coding queen. I just love that she actually mentioned it on the show because if you'll remember, I mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever we did the episode,
Mhm.
how, Joan, got her degree in computer science.
Yeah.
She is our coding queen, and she's like, "Yeah, I was like did a bunch of coding," and then I'm like, "You're like so nonchalant about being a woman in STEM. Okay, you're
Yeah.
a woman in STEM. You should own it. Amazing. What
No
a
one's gonna tell
brainiac."
Joan to learn to code because she already did.
Yeah, I already did. So, what's your next advice? Like Bitcoin? Okay, whatever. Anyway, she's like, I'm doing something that's actually
Bitcoin.
useful. I don't know. I'm like, what are the two pieces of advice people have? Oh, you got to learn to code, and like, oh, and you got to like sell a course, and then you got to like do Bitcoin. And it's like one of those things is smart. The other two,
Yeah.
not so much. I've been coding a lot in class lately, and my background in coding has really been helping because I'm building stuff in R. Okay, so you can't say anything to me.
Good for you.
So
I can't do any of that shit.
anyway, it's like a statistical software for pirates. So pretty cool. It's called R. So
Well, I have a
Pascal
liberal
is.
arts degree and I'm a personality hire, so
I know, it's like, surprise, I'm really good at math. And people are like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Mhm. Yeah, I don't just wear glasses. I live them."
I use
S
them.
so Pascal is so sweet. His origin story is really inspirational, and I don't know. It's sweet that Pascal is very much like, I come from humble beginnings, and I came over here and I wanted to make something myself, and I just looked in the mirror every day, and I like didn't know a lot of English, and I'm like, "You're gonna make it, and you're gonna make something for yourself, and you're gonna do it, and you can do it, and you're good, and then he's like, "And then I did it." And I do think, despite like him being like, I like the finer things in life and whatever, it does seem like he appreciates like his life and like everything that he has, and doesn't take it for granted. I think that's really sweet.
Mhm.
So even though, because I was like, so you're trying to see the heart of him on like a materialistic shopping day, like, do you really think that's gonna happen? But it actually did, and like it was really, I don't know. I really like his story. I would love to learn
Yeah.
more about him, and it's just so cute. I don't know. Good for him.
I
That's all
want
I have to say
everybody on
about
the
that.
show to be my dad, even Pascal. I'll teach you how to do laundry, Pascal. It's
Yeah.
easy. You just put it all in the
Oh my
washing
god.
machine
I
and
mean, if
turn it
he's
on.
your dad, you get like good haircuts for
I
forever. Like that's
know.
amazing.
Amazing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth it. Like, I would do a lot of chores for somebody who, cut my hair and, like,
Mhm.
dyed it and, like, did cool that's, like that's one of my biggest expenses. I think most people would, like, puke if they learned how much I spent on my hair. It's really terrible. Uh, I can't even say it on it's bad, okay?
She's got a mortgage on her hair, folks.
Think about what you think is, like, a high amount of money to spend in, like, one hair appointment, and probably, like, double or triple it, and that's probably what I spent. Anyway, so yeah, put your votes in the comments of our YouTube video. So Jonathan is nervous about this one-on-one. This is interesting. So Jonathan gets a one-on-one, right? And instead of
Mhm.
being excited about it, he's nervous about it because he's like, "That's too much focus on me."
Yeah.
Because again, Jonathan has deep lore. Did I tell you? He has
Oh,
deep
yeah, we talked about
lore.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
This is a
and
man
this is
with
another
quite the
example of
backstory.
how these men differ from anyone else's on the show. Like, normally it's
Yeah.
hyper competitive and they're like, "Yeah, I got the one I want." Mm. And here it's just like, "Oh, no, I'm going to cry. I wanted the group date. It's too much pressure. There's a 50-50 shot technically that I will
Yeah.
go home." It's like, "Bro, it doesn't work that way. You're good."
Yeah. It's so sweet. Like, he's so nervous. He's like, "It
Yeah.
can be a double-edged sword because you could be staying or you could be going." And I'm like, "I think you're probably gonna be totally fine."
Yeah,
Like,
he's
I wasn't worried about it, but
but
he
then
was
I
worried
got
about it.
worried. I got
Yeah.
worried because it's a horse date. And
Yeah. Hor
historically,
Horse dates
you
are
want
always awkward.
yeah, there's never a good
Yeah.
horse date. Like, the best you can hope for coming out of a horse date is you don't get sent home or that
It
the
ends in a
other
hot tub.
person yeah, it ends in a hot tub or the other person doesn't have a breakdown. Because the horse
Yeah.
date, the problem is 1, none of these people know how to ride horses, okay? And
Right.
even if they do, it's like one person does, the other person doesn't, it feels weird.
Mhm.
And then you're not actually doing an activity, you're just trotting along, so all you have is each other and like
Yeah.
whatever awkward conversation you have, it's a very like there's no buffer between you and the other person. It's very raw. Plus, you're like trying to be like, so what do you like? What are your hobbies? While
You
you're like
like
trying to not
stuff?
fall off of a giant animal.
Yeah.
It's the worst. You never want a horse date. You want shopping or you want trauma bonding. You don't want a horse.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
That's good advice for life in general.
yeah, I'm afraid of horses. So,
Yeah, look at
and I
them.
didn't even have like a bad thing happen. Like Joan had like a horse throw her off or whatever, or she
Yeah.
fell off one or something.
I mean, think
That's
about like
scary.
just horses just divorce from this whole situation. Just what is a horse? I'll tell you what a horse is. It's like a 1,200-pound animal that can shit in the street and nobody can tell it different. That's horrifying to me. I don't want to get on
Okay.
that. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
No, I get it. Yeah, it scares me. I don't. I, I've only been on a couple horses, and it wasn't like a very good experience. So
No,
I don't need to
good.
do that again. Um,
No horse girls
anyway,
here. Go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
I've never been a horse girl. I'm sure that shocks you that I'm not a
Yeah.
horse girl. Um, Pascal says "oui, oui" to the rose, and then so then we have that's what he said, and
He
then we
did.
have like literally we have a group date. Okay, Keith is like, I am built for this date. It's kickball. Like this is my date. But then they're like, but don't worry because this date is sponsored by Quaker Oats. And then who was it who was just like, I love Quaker
That
Oats.
was Keith again.
Yum.
He was just like, I love Quaker Oats.
Yum, but he said yum at the end. It was
Yeah,
so weird.
it was
Anyway,
really weird.
and then, they're like Greg's like, "Oh, well, I can get off the ground." So that makes me more well equipped for this sport. Um, and then Gary does like a very nice kick. Like his leg went really high. I was like,
Mhm.
"Whoa."
I
And
was very surprised with Gary's athleticism. I thought he was great. Yeah.
yeah, like he's got like twinkle toes, like, and he was just like, yeah, anyway, that was really good. Joan goes, "I'm a quickie on the field. Wait, maybe I shouldn't say that." And I was like, "Too late." And then they're like, "Okay, we are going to do it where the winners can hang out and the losers go home." So we are doing that. So just so
Mm.
you know. Uh, and then we see like Gil briefly, and then she calls him impressive, and I'm like, "Ugh, get him off my TV. Get him off my TV."
Mm.
Um, and then okay, then Jesse's like announcing, and he's like eating Quaker, and he's like, "What a great way to start the day." Now, listen, I love oatmeal, okay? Do I have Quaker Oats in my pantry?
No.
Maybe,
Who
but
buys that shit? Unless you're making like oatmeal cookies. Like who's just buys like the big like
I do.
cardboard jug? You buy
I
and
do.
use it for cooking though, right? Like you bake stuff with it. You're not just like
I
scarfing
eat
Quaker Oats.
oatmeal.
I eat oatmeal too, but in the packets.
Oh my g
You buy the jug, the
Yeah,
oats
what are
jug.
you can't spend 5 minutes making real oatmeal? You gotta buy them in packets?
It's a measurement. It's a
That's like
measurement
some
issue.
Pascal.
Uh,
It's
also,
a half a cup of oats, a cup of water, and it takes 5 minutes, and then you can
also,
customize it however you want.
I gotta get. Well, okay. Listen, lady.
Oh my
Listen up.
god. I gotta send you some pictures of my morning oatmeals.
I gotta eat the special boy gluten free oatmeal. You don't want me to drop dead over here, do you?
Oats are
I can't buy the jug.
gluten-free. Oats
I can't
are
buy the jug.
gluten-free. Oats are
Well,
gluten-free.
here's the problem though. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. This is true. Uh,
Okay.
you have to buy. You don't have to buy. I have to buy the special ones only because. Due to the joys of American food manufacturing, the process in which they create like oatmeal
Yeah,
is on its surface.
but you can buy, like, Bob's Red Mill.
Yeah, but it doesn't come in the jug. That's what I'm saying. I can't buy Quaker Oats. That'll fuck me up because there's all kinds
Okay,
of stuff.
but you can buy old-fashioned oats.
I
You
could.
don't have to buy the quick oats. You don't have to do all that shit. You don't have to
Mhm.
buy the little packets. Okay? You can buy real gluten-free oats from
I
a
just
safe factory and be okay, I promise.
I could, but I like when it comes in a packet and I dump it in the bowl and then I put the water in the packet up to the line and then I dump it in the bowl and then it just goes in the microwave.
Wow.
It's simple. It's
And it
simple.
takes 2 minutes less
It does.
than
It does. 2
making
minutes
it
less,
on the
and there's
stove.
no I don't have big Quaker trying to contaminate me with horrible
I'm gonna
gluten.
send you a picture of my beautiful morning oatmeal.
I don't know. Those Quakers are they're coming for me. They're putting all kinds of
Listen,
stuff in there.
I'm telling you, now I'm starting to propaganda it. I'm like,
There's bugs
"It's
and
amazing."
sticks and gluten all over them.
Oh my gosh. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
Well,
But
I'm gonna eat a I don't know, what's a bug that would be in oats? I don't know.
I don't know, but
Probably a locust.
they can also exist in the little packets.
We could. It's possible.
Do you know how many flies are, like, acceptable in a jar of peanut butter? Anyway, just ground up in there. Anyway, so
Well, protein.
we're having a spat over oatmeal. It's fine. So the
Sammy loves
blue
big Quaker.
No, I don't own any Quaker oats, but I do have, like, tubes of oats.
Steel cut in the tube.
I do have steel cut, I do have old fashioned, and
Wow.
I probably have about, I don't know, a lot. I have many, many ounces, dozens of ounces of oats in my pantry at this very moment.
You have a high fiber intake.
Yes, my business is called Needs More Fiber, if
Yeah.
you forgot. Anyway, so
not referring to yourself.
Well, we all need more fiber all the time,
That's probably true.
including moral fiber, which is what this show teaches us.
Good
And
transition.
yeah, thank you. The blue team wins. Charles makes us cry again.
Stop it, Charles. I'm
Yeah.
all out of tears.
And he's like, he's like talking about his, I think this was when he explained to Joan that like guy explained to him this stuff. I think that's why it was. I
Well,
didn't write
everything he
down why,
does
but
is precious. Like even
he
playing
is the
kickball, he's like,
internet's boyfriend.
I did kickball for the first time and it was beautiful. Wasn't it beautiful? It's like,
He
yes,
just
Charles.
loves life, and it's so wonderful, and I'm
Mhm.
so glad, and I think his wife would be really proud
Yeah,
of
Charles
him
is the definition of happy to
embracing.
be here. And I swear to God,
Yes.
like every single person watching the show is going to rip their TV off the wall the moment he gets eliminated.
Yes. Yeah. It's not gonna be good. I think he has
Mhm.
a very strong chance of being the Golden Bachelor. I'm just saying. He's really popular.
He is really
He could
popular. I just
make
don't.
it.
Does he have the Riz though? I don't know if he has it, but I've
Listen,
been wrong
there are
before.
people that we thought didn't have the Riz, and then they
Yeah.
get into the lead, and then they like I feel like his personality has already come out, and I think
Mhm.
it would come out even more, and we're like, Listen, Charles for Golden Bachelor, that's all I'm saying." Okay, Joan is upset because her mom is, sick. She wasn't doing well. By the end of the episode, spoiler alert, she was better, so that's good. But Gary's like, "I'm gonna pray on it, and I believe in the power of prayer." And
Oh
then
God,
later
yeah,
he's
Gary
like
shows up.
"I wrote" no, Gary, like,
Oh,
on this season,
on
Gary,
this season,
remember?
Gary. Yes,
And then
yes,
he,
good
like, wrote a
Gary.
prayer. Yeah, not old Gary, new Gary
New Gary,
was
yeah.
yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, I believe in the power of prayer and all this stuff." And she's like, "That's so sweet." And he's like, "I'm gonna keep you in my prayers and whatever." And I'm like, that's not necessarily my thing, but it's like really cute though.
It's a good sentiment.
Um,
Yeah, sure.
it's super sweet. It's super sweet. And then Gil comes on my screen and I'm like, ugh. And then I just wrote fuck him, fuck him, fuck him a million times in my notes. So that's all I said. But I understand kind of why, because it was like he got the group date rose, but like they could have also just cut out that someone got a group date rose at all. I don't think they were creative enough with their editing. That's what I will
Mm,
say. Then the guys afterwards get massages from Joan because they're too old to be doing all this kickball stuff.
it's true.
And Jonathan doesn't get a massage because he's doing this one-on-one date. And I'm obsessed with his shirt on this date. And I kept trying to make Tuck look at it. I was like, look at the shirt. Look at the shirt. It's such a good shirt. Do you see it? It's got flowers all over it. It's so cute. I love his shirt. Um, yeah, Joan is scared of the horse. Me too. And then meanwhile, at the house, Captain Lee, I mean, Kim is trying to write a song. And he's like, so mandatory fun. It's amazing. And again, okay, this is like, I'm like, I know exactly. I mean, first of all, I'm sure these are similar to songs like he probably sang, like in
Oh,
his
this is some like real like White Christmas Bing Crosby shit.
well, this is like, well, to me, like I'm like, this is probably some like military, like Navy type of stuff. But then
Yeah.
also it sounds like all of the like fraternity songs I've ever heard.
Mhm.
Like when I was in a sorority, we did this God, what was it called? It was basically like a row. There was like this thing where guys would come to our house. This is so weird. Guys would come to our house. What is that called? And they would sing to us and then they would give us roses.
So it's just this show? Is that
Yes. So it was like, and it was like and it was particularly for like the new people in the house, like the new girls in the house, like who had been recruited that year would get sung to by like the new men in the fraternity, and then they would have roses, and they were like assigned to us basically, and they would like give us a rose.
I don't want anyone to ever sing to me. I can't even imagine. Like
Well, but the song sounded like this stuff, because it's or it's kind of like, like barbershop quartet-y or, it's
yeah,
like
but it has
Light a
that like
Rose,
that
like
military cadence to it because every song is just like
yeah.
da 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 da. Da.
Right. Yeah. So it's either like that or it's like Light a Rose, like in, Music Man,
Yeah.
it was one or the two that would get sung, to us. And then they always had like kind of a subversive song that they would also sing. And
Ooh.
then we would sing back. So we had like a sweet song, and then we had one that was like, you know, about like getting drunk and, doing um untoward things.
LSD.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
I could not if someone's just like people are gonna sing to you and then you have to sing back to them, like,
Yeah. It was
I'm
just
out.
mostly about it was mostly about Yeah, lewd acts and, excessive drinking.
Love that.
Good songs, good songs. But that was like but it was, like, such a weird old tradition, but, like, we all did it because we were like, "It's kinda fun," and we got to learn songs, and we had, like, little hand choreography and, shit like that. We were like and there
Tradition.
was and there was, like, one where, you just kinda sway back and forth like this or whatever, it's like all that shit. So, I totally understood what Kim was trying to do, and I agree with him that, like, it would sound really good if, like, multiple men did it, and if some
Mhm.
of them knew how to harmonize, it would sound really sweet. And so I totally saw his vision and understood it, and so many of the men were like, "Fuck this,
Yeah, no,
I'm not doing
I've
it."
got the
And it made
Gary
me so
mindset here.
sad for him.
Gary's like, "Bro, it's so good." First of all, it's so
No.
good, but
So mean.
listen, just like it's like your song. We could never like, this is
No.
your shit, man. You do that. Like, I don't wanna steal your thunder. It was amazing. Gary was, like, trying to PR the situation.
Yeah, but then Kim was, like, so sweet. He's like, "Well, Beethoven wrote music for a symphony. Okay. It would sound like crap if it was just Beethoven playing it." And I'm
Mhm.
like, no one should tell him about Beethoven's, like, piano pieces.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's actually got some.
He actually did,
Perhaps, Kim, you haven't heard me bang out "Ode to Joy" on a
yes.
Casio keyboard.
You don't know if you're Elise, and you're telling me you don't know if you're Elise. Anyway, so, yeah, I just thought that was, like, really funny. But I totally felt his pain, and I totally saw the vision. I'm sorry, Kim, that they didn't like it. It's like
Mm,
a fraternity song. I totally get it. Um, okay, then we go back to Jonathan's date, and he, talks about, this, like, the imagery of, like, the turtle coming to mind, like, part of his like the Native American side of himself and how he feels like he has a tendency to hide and protect himself. And like I said, he's got lore and he's deep. Okay. That's Jonathan. Um, and Joan is like, listen, from here on out, you are good enough. And I don't want you to sell yourself short and think you're not good enough. And I just don't know who did a number on him to make him
yeah.
think that he wasn't enough.
Well, and
This
his
guy
whole
is
thing
like
was like,
really
I
questioning himself all the time.
well, because he had the surprise divorce too. Like, he
Yes.
was just like,
Yeah. He's like,
"Oh,
it
so
was just
my
out
I
of the
woke up one
blue.
day and my wife was just like, 'So I was thinking we should get divorced.'" And he was like, "What?" And she was
And
like, "Yeah."
she's like, "I haven't been happy." And he's like, "Oh, oh, okay." And he said it was like really triggering to like zip up his suitcase and it just made him think about like his divorce. And I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh
That's hard, man. That's
my
heavy.
god."
Also, I can't even imagine that, like, to be completely blindsided 'cause, he doesn't seem like a dumb guy at all, but, like, to
No.
just be like, literally, I had no earthly idea, like, the fact that that wasn't communicated to him in any meaningful way until it was, "Surprise, I'm leaving." Like, that's
Yeah, how were they
horrible.
yeah, like what happened there? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
really,
I
really
mean,
sad.
from what I understand from, friends who have experienced this, like, even if they're kinda taken aback, they're like, "Upon reflection, yeah,
Yeah,
I could
that
see."
makes sense. Yeah.
It's never, like, completely like, "Whoa, where did that came?" Like, everything it was fine, and then it just wasn't. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who knows what happened there, but that's very sad.
Yeah.
Um, and of course he gets the rose. I don't know.
Of course.
And then he's like, "Oh, I feel that soul connection with Joan." And I'm like, "Oh,
Ooh.
this is a
Love that for
big
you, buddy.
thing." Um, and uh, and then Joan starts to get kind of upset and she's like, "John has been such a big part of my life and like I'm trying to hold it together." But she saw like the Hawks at the date and that was like, her kids always thought Hawks like her dad was around and stuff. And so she got emotional and then like the next day she's like I guess it's like cocktail party time. I don't really know if they called it that though.
Mhm.
And she's like, "I just have to be honest with the men. I just have to, like, be open with them and tell them, like, how I'm feeling about this." And she was just like, "Listen, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be 100% ready for love. Like, maybe I'll only ever be 90% or 80%, and, like, if that's not enough for you, like, I'm really sorry. Like, I think that's all I can promise." And, like, every man is like, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense." Like,
Yeah.
no one was like, that's a red flag."
And
Like, they were
again,
like,
this is
"Yeah."
like I feel like I'm just like in bizarro world with this show, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, this is the essence of this show in that moment, which is like Joan is going through it, and she loved her husband, and even if you are, she's like still like mourning that, even if she's not
Right.
like, completely in it, you're still never completely past it either.
Mhm.
But all these guys, because you get to a certain age and this is just life, whether it's divorce or death or whatever, they've all experienced some sort of loss. And so they have so much empathy for her situation, and she has empathy for their situations. Can you imagine for even a fraction of a second if we were watching regular ass Bachelorette
Right.
and this conversation occurred, how many men would storm out and be like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," or how many people would be like,
Yeah.
if somebody said that, like, well, I don't think that she's here for the right reasons because,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they'd be like, "It has to be 100%. I won't accept anything less."
I
It's like
won't accept anything less than a proposal with extreme maximum love. Come
yeah,
on.
it's like yeah, all the men are like, "That's totally realistic and it makes sense," and, like,
Yeah.
why would you pressure yourself to do more than that? And then, like, Chalk was like, he was really sweet, and he was, like, talking about his mom having stage 4 cancer and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and oh my god. And, and he was just kinda like, "And listen, if there's, like, anything you ever wanted like, anything, you wanna talk about anything, I'm here for
Mhm.
you, like, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to have it all together, you don't have to have it figured out, and,
Yeah.
like, and you don't have to rush yourself, it's fine." And she was like, "Oh, Chalk's a fixer the way that, like, John was a fixer, and, like, that's really sad." And that to me and I started crying right then and there. And then Gary's like, "I wrote a prayer for you," and she's like, "Well, my mom's better, so, like, thank you for caring and, doing that yesterday and whatever."
Mhm.
And then Charles God fucking damn it. Charles comes in and he shares a picture of his wife with Joan. I was like,
Bro.
"Oh my god." I was
Which
like,
again, it's like this
"Ah."
show. Can you
And she's
imagine,
like, "You
like, you're
look
like,
so
"Hey,
happy together."
future potential wife slash current girlfriend that I'm dating with 30 other guys. Here's a picture of my wife." It's like, "What?"
Yeah. It's
This
so
can only
sweet.
exist in this show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sweet, and she's like, "You look so happy together," and he's like, "We were," and she's like, "This is so beautiful, thank you for sharing it with me," and he's like, "I just feel like Joan and I have so much in common because we've, been through the same kinda heartbreak, and I just feel like she really understands," and I'm like, "Oh my god," and he's like, "When you're ready, don't pressure yourself, just let your heart decide," and I got chills.
Oh,
I was like,
it's
I was
also
like, "It's
wholesome.
not my fever coming back, I have literal chills."
Wow, but then it all
Yeah,
comes crashing down because the
because
wrong Gary shows
'cause
up.
old Gary comes back,
Old
and I'm
Gary.
like "Okay, so
"Hi ho, it's me, Gary."
when was this in the timeline? Was he
That's what I was
divorced?"
thinking.
Okay, thank
That's
you,
what
I
I was
wanted to
thinking.
know.
I was like, "Oh, divorcey McDivorce Pants is here to." It's like,
To
"When
talk
I was
about
going through my journey,
true
which was
love.
definitely positive and good, where I totally found true love with Teresa, the love of my life." It's like, "The fuck you did? You guys were divorced in 30 seconds because it was obvious you would be because of how that entire show played out, where you were like, I'm
We
gonna
couldn't
pick
be more
you.
different.
Come live in the middle of nowhere, Indiana with me, even though you have strong ties to your family and children in New Jersey."
Yeah, it's just like yeah, that was wild to me. It's like he
Sorry, I
didn't pick anyone in the Midwest or, like, someone who would be willing to move, like, it
yeah,
just doesn't make
Gary
any
and his
sense.
cartoon ass voice. I can't. I'm over him. I
But
can't deal
yeah,
with
I
him.
was just like I was like, "When is it?" Here's my wild theory. He's freshly divorced and he's shooting a shot with Joan.
Oh, that's what I
And then
thought
it
too.
Yes, yes, thank you. And then it gets reframed because he goes, "Oh, have you considered the possibility that your guy is not here?" And I was like, "Is that your way of saying, 'But I'm right here, Joan?'"
Or
Like,
perhaps your guy has just arrived.
yeah, like I was just like, "What kind of a question is that?"
I know.
That's like the weirdest question I think I've ever heard anybody ask on the show ever.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Have you considered the possibility that your guy is not here?" It's like, that's the opposite question of every other question that gets asked on the show. It's always like, "Do you think your guy is in this room? Do
Yeah.
you
And he
see
like
your future
reframes
husband in
it
this
in
room?"
like
Yeah.
screwball mode that I
Yeah,
didn't
he's
like
like,
it.
"Is your guy not here?" Or maybe he's right in front of you, and
Can
I'm
you
like,
think back, like, go back to, like, when we were just seeing previews of the original Golden Bachelor and
"Yeah,
everybody Gary fever. Have you ever seen someone's stock plummet faster
God, I
with
mean,
Gary? It's like
he
literally,
milkshake ducked real fast.
oh yeah, real
Yeah,
fast. It's just
real
like
fast.
the more you get exposed to him, the less you like him. It's the Ron DeSantis effect where like
Yeah,
everybody thought he was this like, oh, he's a no-brainer, like he's going to be the next Republican president, like it's easy, it's a cakewalk for him. But literally, the more people saw him, like the more he campaigned, the more he was in front of human beings, they were like, oh, this guy is horrible.
yeah, you're like, "Oh, he's like, please clap times 20."
Yeah, totally,
Yeah,
totally.
like, he got married at Disney? Oh, okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Anyway, but here's my favorite part about this whole thing with Joan and, Gary is, like, she's like, you know, she's like, she friend zoned him so hard in the confessional. She's like, "I just needed a friend right now. You know, we're such good friends, and it's so great that he was here to just be a friend to me." Like, she said "friend" so many times in, like,
Yeah, it was
a
great.
millisecond, and I was like, "We get it, Joan. We
Yeah.
listen, Joan, we are riding with you, okay? We think you're amazing,
Whenever I
so"
think of Gary, I just think of pure platonic neutrality.
Like, Joan, your
Great.
stock isn't gonna drop, don't worry. I
No,
don't think there's anything that Joan can do that would
no,
make someone, like, hate her. Like, there's
absolutely
no
not.
Joan
No,
exposé
no,
coming out,
no,
so it's
unless she
fine.
literally like cold cocks Charles in the face. Like
Yeah, how could you do that to the internet's boyfriend?
that dude,
Um,
hey Charles, your shoes are untied. Bam!
yeah, be like, "Wait a minute, okay, everyone cancel Joan." Um, but yeah
That
so
actually would
then
be dope. I'd let her do it.
so then we get to Guy and Kim singing this song. Oh my god, it's so cute. He was really, like he really gave it his all too, which is, like, really sweet,
He
and
did.
Joan liked it, like, she got kinda choked up, she's like, "I can't believe you wrote that
Oh,
song for me." But the
masterful
other
move
guys
by
are
Guy
kicking
too.
themselves, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because all those guys are over there looking like schmoes. Because the thing is
yeah,
like if Kim does the song by himself and everybody else is standing off to the side, it's fine. But because
yeah,
Guy is the only guy and he's helping Kim out, like it just it makes him look great.
yeah,
It makes Kim happy. It as an audience, we're like, we love Guy now. I
yeah.
can't I immediately felt intense shame just completely wash over me.
Like, Guy's being the nicest person ever in this
Yeah.
episode to, like, 2 people he really needed to be nice to. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
this
his
is my
soccer
entire
eyes,
life.
yeah.
It's like welcome to Rose Plays Special, where Steve makes bitchy snap judgments about people he doesn't know at all, but sees for 10 minutes on TV, and then immediately feels immense regret for his
Yeah.
initial, just how I see him. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
I'm terrible.
and then even his, like, schlocky thing to, like, write a prescription for bubble baths, like, didn't
Oh
look
my
that bad
god,
because
no,
he sang with Kim, so that was good, and
exactly.
he gets to stay. So, like, he gets the first rose, and then, Dan, Gary, Jordan, and then we get a lot of, like, Chalk and Keith, like, monologuing and being nervous even though, like, they're both obviously gonna make it.
Yeah,
Chalk, Charles L, well, Charles in charge, Keith, Mark, and so that means, yeah, Kim, CK, and Greg are all going home, which feel 100% predictable. I wasn't surprised by anybody going
hmm
home this week. And but then this was cute. Kim at the end goes, "I would like to be your friend.
that was really good.
If you would take this friendly transaction, I would like to be friends with you." And then he gives her a smooch because like boomers are kind of weird.
Yeah, the boomers love a smooch.
Yeah, I'm like, why? It's so strange. But
Yeah,
then in
real
the next
kiss your
episode,
dad on the mouth energy.
yeah, ugh, ugh, yeah, it's like, ugh, and then it's like striptease seniors.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see
Yeah,
some nude dudes
and then
next
we're gonna
week.
see
Should be good.
Chalk lose it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, that was
I'm
kind of a
I'm
twist I didn't expect.
I know, finally something a little less wholesome on this show. I want
Yeah.
some elderly men in Speedos. I want an angry grandpa. Uh, I don't know. I mean, do you have any predictions for the coming weeks? Because I only have one,
Okay.
and it's kind of a big swing. I think Guy is going to continue to do well, ultimately will not win, but I firmly believe in my heart of hearts that Guy will be the next Golden Bachelor.
Whoa, that's bold.
Mhm.
That's really bold.
Yeah.
He's got the look, he could do it.
That's the thing. He is far and away, I
So
think, the
wait,
most classically handsome.
who do you think is going all the way, like Jonathan?
Ooh, yeah, Jonathan is a strong contender. although like he's got the heart and the love, but like I feel like Joan needs a slightly bigger personality,
Yeah.
and I
I feel
don't
like she needs
know
someone a
where that's
little
going to
more
come from.
dadly, which is
Mhm.
why I still think Keith is a really strong contender.
Yes, I agree.
I know we're both, like, not that into Mark, but I think she is into Mark.
Mhm.
Um, and
That's
I
fair.
think Dan could have a higher profile.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
Dan could really go somewhere. I think those are kind of like my front runners because I don't think Gary's staying around forever, but he's really sweet. Yeah, I don't think Charles is, there's not like that chemistry there, but he's just such a sweet guy. Like it's just
Mhm.
like it's I understand why you would wanna keep someone around like that who's so sweet. We see that she goes on a date with Guy, and she sees who else does she go on a date with? We saw, like, a preview of another date. Jordan, maybe?
Mhm.
I think,
Yeah.
which makes sense because he hasn't gotten one yet. But I think Dan is, like, really solid. We don't see a lot of him, but I don't think that means that he couldn't make it, and he
Yeah.
seems like a good fit for her, but, like, Keith definitely gives kind of, like, yeah, like, big dad energy that she likes, and then she talks about Chalk being a fixer, so if he leaves, I think that does kind of shake things up
Yeah.
and leave room open. Um, yeah, I I don't think Guy is her guy. Like,
Mhm.
so him being the Golden Bachelor makes sense. I think it depends on, like, what direction they wanna go for Golden
Yeah.
Bachelor.
And my biggest
Yeah.
takeaway from all this so far is, like, there's so many solid dudes here, like, everybody's
Yeah,
solid
there's
pretty
not
much.
really, like, a bad choice.
No,
Well, and
unless your name's
Pascal
Gil
is really
Ramirez.
good too. I just don't know if what'd you say?
I said unless your name's Gil Ramirez.
Yeah, get Gil off my TV.
Yeah,
Um,
Pascal is
yeah,
here for a good time, not a long time. That's my thing with him. Like, I
yeah,
don't see he doesn't seem like a closer to me, and that's
yeah.
fine.
Pascal
He's
is really cool. Like, God, we need Golden Paradise because Pascal's perfect for Golden Paradise. So is
Mhm.
Jack. Like there's so many of these guys that I'm like, I just want to watch and hang out on a beach.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that would be such a delight. And with
Yeah.
the women who are on the Golden Bachelor, they're so fun. Like,
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
oh, dream come
Yeah.
true.
No,
Like we
totally,
need Golden
totally.
Paradise. There's so many TikTok comments. People are like, you need to give us Golden Paradise. Like,
Dude, and yeah, just like,
yeah.
oh my what do old people love more than just, like, going on a beach? Like, they love
Right.
it. That's what they live
But
for.
I think you could do Golden Paradise, but it's a cruise.
Oh,
Like,
there you
it's
go.
so perfect. They
It
have
really
to do
does.
it. And it's like and that's like a little less risky. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, if they're not out on the elements the whole time, sorry, I'm like starting to hit my limit with like the
I'm sorry.
congestion. Um I'm turning into a pumpkin. Um, but if they yeah, like, if they're exposed to the elements all the time, because like the thing about Bachelor in Paradise. We'll talk about this and then we'll close.
Mhm.
The thing about Bachelor in Paradise is that it's like we know that they're in like extreme conditions. It's like a lot of heat. They're all
Crabs.
dehydrated. They're not pooping. Like
Mhm.
can you imagine? It'll be a nightmare for these seniors. Like they're not gonna like it. And like the sleeping situation is even worse. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, it's horrible.
very
Yeah.
sketchy out there. But if they were on a cruise ship and they all had like their own rooms and
Little
stuff.
cabin? Yeah, it'd be
Oh
great.
my gosh, and like the party areas and stuff, I think oh my god. Yeah, I mean, you could do kind of like a bigger below deck, but you're focused more on the guests than I don't know, man. I could
A
s
lot of potential here.
there's a lot of potential. So if you haven't started doing Golden Paradise Bachelor producers, you can take that idea for free because I don't care because I just wanna see it. I don't need any
Mhm.
credit, okay? It
Yeah,
needs to be a cruise.
hashtag golden love boat, let's go. Come
Yes.
on.
Oh
Like,
my
that's it.
god.
That's it.
Like, I mean, it's like they take their best ideas and they just stop doing them. They're like, "Would you like to watch Winter Games and have it be one of your favorite things ever?" And then we never do
Mhm.
it again, and you get to watch, like, a bunch of Bachelor contestants learn how to, like, figure skate, and then we'll never do it again. And I'm like, "But I loved that." That was like
Mhm.
and they're like, "And we're bringing America and Canada together and also Japan randomly." And, like, France,
Love it.
like, all these
Love it.
different countries. Didn't Australia also wasn't there some Australians on there or New Zealanders or something?
Yeah,
I
there's
was
a
like, that was, like, the coolest thing I've ever seen, an international bachelor show, and they
Mhm.
all had to, like, show a certain level of athleticism, and there were, like, not really a lot of rules, like, ah,
Yeah.
Just bring that back. Like, bring back like, Bachelor Pad was kinda like, whatever. Bachelor
Mhm.
in Paradise is much better, but, like, you have thought outside the box before, so just, like, do it again. That's all I'm
Yes.
saying.
I agree. I agree. Let's continue to
Get off my
innovate Bachelor
soapbox.
franchise, if only
Yeah.
for our sanity.
Yeah. We need shake it up. We need some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I need to be wrong about different things instead of the same things all the time.
Yeah, obviously, because it's getting embarrassing. But
That's what I'm
anyway
here for.
anyway, well, tune in, next week, when I will hopefully sound better than this, and, your homework is to read about Helen Keller and about how she was totally a real person. What the hell is wrong with you? And, place your bets for who's gonna be the internet's boyfriend next. And, until then, take care of yourselves, and make sure you get some candy for those trick-or-treaters because 'cause they're gonna be here before you know it.
Don't do needle drugs, or don't put needles in your candy. Remember that's the thing. They're like, "Oh, check your candy.
You
Someone put
definitely talked about this last week.
tabs of acid. There's tabs of acid in needles." No, it's not.
Order your costumes.
I
Start
don't
making them.
waste my drugs on children. Not gonna put them in your candy. We are the Mansion Men.